Okay, so today we're going to start the next section of our notes, which is going to be a review over chapters 3 and 4 that we had toward the beginning of the year. This is going to be day 1. So there will be a quiz coming up on Friday, and it's going to be exactly like our quiz from last week. It's going to be written on a piece of paper, but then you're going to submit your answers into a Google form. So we're going to start here with day 1 for today. If you would, please take out your red pen. I want you to fill up at the top. We're going to be simplifying each one of these expressions. In order to do that, that simply means we're going to combine the like terms. So what I wrote there is for you to write, add the coefficients and the constants. If you remember, a coefficient is simply a number that's attached to a letter, and a constant is a number that stands alone. So now if you would, take your red pen, I want you to put it up at the top of your desk. What we're going to do is we're going to underline and circle the things that are in the same family. Guys, is there anything else in the n family? Not just 10n, negative 10n. Because remember that saying, guys, every number has a sign, and that sign is directly in front of that number. Good job. Now, what is it called when a number stands alone like the 4? That's a constant, the number that stands alone. This right here would be the coefficient, the 6, because it's attached to the n. So there are two things in the same family, the 6n and the negative 10n. Class, if I was to combine those two, what would 6n minus 10n be? Negative 4n. Very good. What should I do with that plus 4? I'm just going to drop it down. Now, can I combine those two together? No, why not? They're not in the same family, or they are not like terms. So that would be our final answer, negative 4n plus 4. Is there anyone who would like to do problem B for me? The first thing I want you to do is underline and circle it. Zion, what should I underline? What should I circle?
Underline negative 8y, positive 6y, and then circle positive 4, positive 2.
Okay, before we add these together, can you tell me about this? How many y's are right there in that one?
3.
Zion, how many y's are right here in that one? That's just 1. So what I want you guys to do is go ahead and put an understood 1 there. Because a lot of times when it just looks like a y, they think, oh, that's 0 y's. But there is 1 y there. What I want us to do, because there are 3 things in the y family. First thing I want you to do for me, Zion, is combine those two. What is 6y plus 1y? 7y, okay? So right there, I now have 7y. And I still have this one right here, negative 8y. Zion, what is negative 8y plus 7y? Negative 1y is correct. Now we still need to combine the constants. If you were to combine those two constants, Zion, what do you get?
6, positive 6.
Positive 6, okay, or plus 6. Can I combine those two terms together? No, they are not like terms, so that is my final answer. If you want to, you can erase this 1 right there and just have negative y, or you can keep it in there with a negative 1y. Either one's fine. Let's go on to the next one. Gerard, what family do you see here on problem C? It is the X family. All of those are in the X family. But what do you see that's interesting about problem C? There's only one negative, okay? Is there the opposite of this one negative anywhere? Yes, what is it? Okay, so what do you think, Gerard, can happen to negative 4x and positive 4x? You are correct. A number and its opposite equals 0, or it cancels out. So, Gerard, what's left? 8x, meaning that is your final answer. Okay? Who wants to help me with the next one? Christopher, underline and circle like terms.
Underline negative 2y and negative 4. And circle plus 15.
All right, very good. Always look to see the letter, see if it's the same thing or not. So, which one comes first in the alphabet, the X or the Y?
Y. X.
X comes first, so we're going to put the X first in our variable term, okay? So, let's drop down the 15x. Now, Christopher, we just need to combine the Y family. If you combine those two, what do you get?
Negative 15.
Negative 15y.
Shouldn't that be negative 15x?
No, it's not going to be a negative 15x because if you look, there's a positive right there in front of it, so you keep the positive. Okay, now guys, can these cancel each other out? I heard yes and I heard no.
No.
Why not?
They're not like terms.
They're not both like terms, okay? One's the X family, one's the Y family, and no matter how much they want to be in the same family, they simply cannot be because one is the X family and one is the Y family. So that is as simplified as it can possibly come. Are there any questions on the first section we did today? Okay, let's move on to the next one, all right? This next one has something that looks different about it than the first section. What's different about these ones? There are parentheses. Here's the deal. You are never, I repeat, never allowed to underline and circle when parentheses are involved. So the first thing you need to do is see, is there anything outside of these parentheses that needs to be distributed? No, there is not. So I am allowed to simply take x minus 2, drop it down, and these parentheses can basically disappear. Okay? Now, if I were to distribute a positive to the 3x, it would still be the same. Positive 3x, and this would still be the same. Positive 8, which means whenever there's a plus in front of parentheses, it makes us happy because I do not need to do any extra work, and I can just simply drop it down. All right, Heather, help me with this one. What should I underline and circle for like terms? Underline x and 3x. Very good. Now help me with this one, Heather. How many x's are right there? Just one. So I am going to put my understood one. Class, when we combine like terms, should I combine the variable term first or the constant? You always want your variable term to come first. So Heather, help me with this. What is 1x plus 3x? 4x is correct. Now we have to combine these two together. Heather, what is negative 2 plus 8? Okay, you saw that it was different signs, so you have to subtract, but then you want to take the sign of the larger number. Positive 6. Class, is my final answer 10x?
No.
Why not?
Those are
They are in different families. So because this is a variable term and because that is a constant, they cannot be combined, meaning 4x plus 6 is my final answer. Any questions on that one? All right, let's move on to the next one. Aubrey, do I need the parentheses on the first part? No, I do not. So I'm going to drop down negative 4y plus 3. Kaylin, are we happy or sad when there is a positive on the outside of parentheses? We are happy because that gives me permission to drop it down. I can get rid of the parentheses without having to distribute any signs. All right, Anson, combine the like terms for me, please. What should I underline and circle?
Circle plus 3. Negative 5. And then underline 11y. Underline negative 4y.
Excellent. Class, what should I combine first, the variable term or the constants? Always combine the variable term first. Adam, if I were to combine negative 4y and positive 11y, what would that be?
Negative 9y.
Okay, how did you get that?
I added 5.
Right now we're only working with the y family. Same sign or different sign?
Different sign.
Okay, same sign, add and keep. Different sign, subtract, and take the sign of the larger number. Very good. Okay, so this will be 7y. And then, Adam, let's combine these two together. Positive 3 minus 5. Negative 2 is correct. Class, is the final answer 5y? No, remember they're not like terms, which means the final answer is 7y minus 2. Are there any questions on how we did section 2? If you are wondering, if you would just take your red pen and off to the side, of the instructions here, I want you to write, this is found in section 3.2. So if you ever wanted to go back to a video and watch it, that would come from 3.2 toward the beginning of the year, and you can watch that on our YouTube channel, okay? All right, so let's move on. Find the difference. This one is a little bit different, but let's look at the very first set of parentheses. Is there anything on the outside that I need to distribute to everything on the inside of the parentheses? No. So what can I do with that first part? Just drop it down, okay? So this becomes 5x plus 6. Now, do we like it when there's a negative on the outside of the parentheses? No, and here's why. We can imagine it is minusing 1 of this whole thing. Would you guys agree that that makes sense? We're subtracting 1 of those. So if you think about the way that we have done this before, you now have to distribute a -1 to everything on the inside of the parentheses. So let's talk about that first one, guys. What is -1 times -2x?
Positive 2.
Positive 2x. I'm not finished. The -1 also needs to be distributed all the way over here to that. Guys, what is -1 times positive 6? -6, because we're multiplying. Does that make sense? Okay, now we're going to combine the like terms. This is the x family and that's the x family. What is it called when a number stands alone?
Constant.
The constant family. What should I combine first? Variable terms or constants? Variable terms. Guys, what is 5x plus 2x? 7x. And what is 6 minus 6? 0. A number and its opposite just cancels out, so what's the answer? 7x. Now, I'm going to show you another way to do it, okay? Hopefully you remember this way. This is the way I actually like much better. Okay, so you can see what I've done here. I simply took our original problem and I rewrote it over here off to the side. And let's see if we can remember how we did this before, okay? We just talked about it. We do not need the parentheses on the first one. But remember what I taught you before. Since we don't like a minus out here, I gave you permission to change it to what we do like. What do we like better? A positive or a plus, okay? But if I give you the permission to turn that into the opposite, what do you have to do to both of these signs in here? Change them to the opposite. So what does that -2x become? It becomes a positive 2x. What does that positive 6 become? -6. Now this is a little bit odd. What do we do when it's like a plus plus? What does that mean? It just means you're adding. It's like, don't forget, I'm really adding. But if you don't want double pluses, you can just get rid of one. And then you go back to having exactly what we had to the left of us. We underline and circle. These right here equals 7x. And these ones get canceled out. Notice we have the same answer. How many of you would say you prefer to do it this way where you distribute the -1? How many of you would rather come over here and do it this way where you have permission to change the negative into a positive? I, as a teacher, do not care which way you do. You do whichever way makes more sense for you because you'll get the same answer either way. Okay, I always like when you guys try it on your own because you could now see maybe where your mistakes were. So let's look at this. Once again, probably half of you guys did have that correct. Okay, first things first, just the girls. Do I need the parentheses around the first part? No, there's nothing in front that I need to distribute, so I can simply drop that down. Next up, boys, are we happy when we see a minus? No, so I give you permission to change it to a positive. If we change that one to the opposite, what do I change 8y to? -8y. What do I change -6 to? +6. Out of this right here, so it's not confusing, it's a double sign. Which sign should I keep? The negative, because whenever I am adding a negative, it simply means that I am minusing it. So I'm going to get rid of that plus. Now, as I walked around, a lot of you guys did not underline and circle the like terms. I want to see you underlining and circling those like terms, okay? Lexi, what should I underline?
The 7y and -8y.
What should I circle?
The 5 and 6.
How many of you would say yours looks just like this? Okay, I found a few people who did not get to this step, all right? let's combine these, guys. Same sign or different sign?
Different.
Same sign, add and keep. Different sign, subtract and take. So what would that be? Negative 1y. A lot of you guys had 15y or negative 15y. Be careful. Different signs, you've got to subtract them and take them. Now, let's combine these. What's 5 plus 6? 11. Is that a positive or a negative 11? Positive. How many of you would say this was the answer that you got? All right. If you did not get that, please erase it and fix it. Okay, so now in this Think, Pair, Share section, we've got 2 final problems we're going to do today. I want you to try A and B on your own. All right, guys, I saw a lot of different answers on both of the problems. So let's see. The first one, we do not need the parentheses because there are positives in front of each of them. A few people, I came around and I saw no one underlining those like terms or circling like terms. Please, that's something I want to see there, okay? Let's talk about negative 8x and positive 8x. What happens to it? 0. It cancels out, so I don't need those. All that's left now is 4 minus 7. Guys, what's 4 minus 7? Negative 3. Raise your hand if you got that one correct. Okay, once again, if you did not, that's okay. I want you to erase it and fix it. This next one is the one where I saw the most problems, okay? I do not need the parentheses on this first one. Remember, we don't like it when there's a negative because I have to distribute the negative. So I gave you permission to turn that to a positive, but what do you have to do to everything on the inside? Change it to the opposite. What does positive 6.3c become? Negative 6.3c. What does positive 20 become? Negative 20. Out of this right here, positive and negative, which sign do I keep? Keep the negative, so I'm going to erase that positive. Now I want to see you underlining and circling. How many of you would say you at least got to this part? Okay, still when I had people, I saw people got to this part and they still made a mistake. Let's look at this. Combine the variable term first. Same sign or different sign? Same sign, add and keep. Add the numbers, keep the sign. This is what I saw. If I have negative 6.3 and I have a 2, guys, where is the decimal point on that 2? After the 2. So this is how you should be adding those together. A lot of people got 6.5. That's not the correct answer, okay? Instead, what would this be? 8.3. So add the numbers, keep the sign. What would the answer be? Negative 8.3c. Now, we combine positive 5 and negative 20. What do you get? Negative 15. Was there anyone who got that correct? All right, if you did not, please erase it and fix it. All right, so tonight's homework is final review number 3. You will find this on Big Ideas, so I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to work on that now.